The West Mesa Bone Collector. 11 bodies in the desert. It began with one dog and one bone. On February 2nd, 2009, a woman was walking her dog on the western edge of Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was supposed to be a normal afternoon. The dog ran ahead, started digging, and then came back holding something in its mouth. At first glance, it looked like an old piece of wood. But when she looked closely, it wasn't wood. It was a human bone. Police arrived quickly. At first, they thought it might be a single isolated case. Maybe an old burial, maybe a lost hiker, maybe something natural. But when investigators started digging, they uncovered something far worse. Not one body, not two, but an entire burial site. A hidden graveyard stretching across the dusty, open desert floor. By the time the excavation was complete, 11 women had been found. 11 victims, all young, all missing for years, and all buried with the same disturbing pattern. Carefully placed, spaced in rows, as if the killer had arranged them like pieces on a dark, silent chessboard. These women had names. They had stories. They had families who waited, begged, and prayed for answers. But for years, their cases were treated as isolated disappearances, missing persons that didn't attract headlines, missing persons society often looks away from. Many of the victims struggled with homelessness or addiction. Several were sex workers from Albuquerque's roughest neighborhood along Central Avenue. Their families reported them missing. But with limited resources, little evidence, and victims living transient lives, the investigation stalled. One mother later said, "I knew something terrible had happened, but nobody listened." When detectives studied the burial patterns on the mesa, they realized something terrifying. The killer was organized. Very organized. The spacing between graves was consistent. The burials were not rushed or chaotic. They were deliberate. Whoever did this had time, privacy, and confidence that nobody would stumble across the bodies. Investigators estimated the murders happened between 2001 and 2006. Then, as suddenly as the killings began, they stopped. The graveyard went silent. For 3 long years, the desert kept its secret, until that dog uncovered the first bone. When the victims were identified, detectives built a timeline of their disappearances. Many of the women went missing from the same 4-mile stretch of road. They vanished late at night. Most had contact with the same area of the city. And despite their separate lives, they were all buried in the same place. Police believe they were dealing with a serial killer who understood the desert, someone who knew the land, the neighborhoods, and the kind of victims who were less likely to be immediately searched for. Someone methodical, someone patient, someone who may have known that society rarely protects women living on the edges. Multiple suspects emerged. One of the most discussed was a violent pimp who controlled several women in the area and was known for brutal assaults. Another was a man arrested in another state for murdering women in similar ways, and who suddenly left the country right when the Albuquerque disappearances stopped. But no evidence connected him firmly to the graves. A third suspect was more chilling. A man whose own family believed he was capable of it. They told investigators he had spoken about hunting women, about burying people in the desert, but he died before the bodies were found. Without hard proof, the case hit a dead end. To this day, none of those suspects have ever been proven guilty. The killer, known as the West Mesa Bone Collector, may still be alive, or he may have died with the truth. But the patterns, the victims, and the burial site leave little doubt. This was the work of one person or one group. Someone with a plan. The crime exposed an ugly truth about America. When victims live difficult lives, when they are battling addiction or poverty, or are forced into dangerous work, the world pays less attention. Predators know this. They take advantage of it. These women weren't just random targets. They were chosen because the killer thought no one would come looking. The desert itself became the perfect burial ground. Silent, enormous, untouched. Wind and sand hid the graves. Years passed, and no one had a clue what was under their feet. But even with 11 victims found, some investigators believe the site may not be complete. The desert is huge. The burial ground may extend far beyond the search zone. Many believe more victims could still be hidden beneath the shifting sands, waiting to be found. Today, a dedicated task force still works the case. Detectives review old witness statements. DNA technology continues to improve. Satellite imaging has been used to analyze soil disturbances. Every year, new tips come in. None have cracked the case yet. For the families, the wounds never healed. One mother said, "At least I know where my daughter is now, but I will never know who put her there." And that's the hardest part. This case is not only about a killer. It's about a forgotten part of society. Women who deserve protection, care, and justice. Women whose lives mattered. Women whose stories were ignored until the desert finally revealed the truth. Before we wrap up, remember to subscribe to True Crime Mystery. Stories like this must be told, because silence is what allowed this killer to hide for so long. Tell me in the comments, why do you think the West Mesa bone collector suddenly stopped? Was he arrested for another crime? Did he die? Or did he simply move somewhere else and continue? Your theory might just spark the investigation in a new direction.